Most of us learn to climb on vertical walls, and this teaches us to move in a certain way, with our hips parallel to the rock. But this approach causes all sorts of problems when you apply it to the steep stuff. Look how much the arms are working here. But it can be done with so much less effort. Here, Gabby twists in with her hips, and in so doing she gains an extra foot of reach automatically without even needing to bend her arms. To take this a stage further, by really exaggerating the twist and rolling over with your body, you can actually lock the lower arm in place, and in so doing reduce the amount of locking strength that's required. To understand this move better, it's worth making a comparison with the figure of 4 move. Although less frequently used in climbing, it's easy to see how the leg locks the arm in place with the figure of 4. And here we can see the twist lock working in exactly the same way. All this can be a revelation to anyone who thought that climbing steep rock was all about doing pull-ups. If you get the body positions right, you may barely need to pull with your arms at all. Let's put the theory to the test. On this typical steep indoor sport route, the only time Gabby's hips are parallel is when she sets up between moves. But for the move itself, the hips twist in, the body rolls, and the arms stay virtually straight. Not only will straight arms help you to save bicep strength, but more importantly, a bent arm causes the circulation to be restricted to your forearm, which in turn causes you to get more pumped. This way, it's obviously so much more efficient. Twisting in this way clearly works a treat when the holds are big, but it comes into its own even more on crags like this when the holds are small. Let's take a closer look. Going back once again to the way we learn to climb on vertical walls, there is a natural tendency when we see a foothold on the left of our body to use it with the left foot, and similarly, footholds on the right get tagged for the right foot. The net effect of this is that the hips are forced parallel, and this means that they come flying wildly out as we make each hand move. The amount of strength this requires speaks for itself. Again, right foot on the right, hips fly out, left foot on the left, hips fly out. So how can this be avoided? Here, Gabby steps through and uses the foothold on her right with the outside edge of her left foot. She then braces her right foot flat against the wall for counterbalance and twists in so that she can make the hand movement with complete stability. The body literally forms a tripod, and it's back to the old cliche of 3 points of contact. But the beauty of this position, compared to using the inside edge, is that the foot is right underneath you, so you can gain so much more push from it. you're struggling to find the balance point on outside edge moves, then here's an exercise that may help. Note that the counterbalancing leg always provides a mirror image of the reaching arm, and that a straight line can be drawn from hand to foot. The outside edge move should be regarded as the utility move for climbing steep walls, and you should always be looking out for opportunities to use it. But what happens when the holds don't play ball, or if you find yourself out of sequence? Here, as I set up for the move, I realise that I'm wrong-footed, and so I need to swap to the outside edge of the other foot. Again, the inside edge is wrong, so I swap to gain balance from the outside edge of the other foot, and so on. This is all very well, but swapping feet can be clumsy, and it wastes crucial time and energy. Surely there's a better solution. The answer is to stay as you were on the inside edge, but to use the free leg as a counterbalance by bracing it against the wall for stability. This move is known as flagging, and it can be done either by swinging the free leg in front of you or behind you. It boils down purely to the height of the foothold. If the foothold is low down, then flag in front. If it's higher, then flag behind. Note that when flagging behind, the hips remain parallel, and the active leg is unable to give much push, and therefore it's a slightly more strenuous option. This might all sound a bit complicated, but it makes perfect sense as soon as you start to practice. When learning this technique, it can sometimes be difficult to find correct positioning for the trailing leg. This needs to come through far enough to hit the balance point, and ideally it should touch the wall to form a stable tripod. Note, however, that on really steep rock this may not be possible. The best tip is to really exaggerate the move and to flag through slightly further than you think. If you're still struggling to locate the balance point in flag moves, then try this supporting exercise. Note the symmetry of the body and the straight line between the leading arm and the trailing leg. Let's look at Gabby again. To be really critical, her trailing leg is perfectly positioned for counterbalance, but she's not quite pushing enough with the active leg on her inside flag moves. Her arm is definitely pulling first, and the leg is following by pushing a moment too late. Even some of the best climbers still make this error. Here, in an equivalent position, we can see that Gabby's leg is definitely more bent, and my leg is straighter. Let's see the final version. The push from the leg is coordinated precisely with the pull from the arms, and the whole body works together in one motion. The outside edge and flag moves that we've seen so far apply to situations on steep walls where you only have one foothold and the spare leg is used to attain balance. But what happens when you have to make use of two footholds? Let's see how the situation changes. The classic mistake, once again, is to keep the hips parallel. This forces your backside out into space and plants all the strain firmly on your arms. Think how many times you've made moves like this. technique to beat this is called the drop knee or Egyptian. The idea is to drop the knee on the same side as the arm that you're reaching up with, and to rotate the hips in at 90 degrees to the wall. Here, Gabby spins on her right foot, drops her right knee and twists in before reaching up with her right arm. The clever part of this move is that the twisting motion actually creates sideways force between the two footholds, like a bridging move, and this takes further strain off your arms. The first time you discover this, it can be a revelation, enabling you to save stacks of energy or pull on holds that you'd never thought were possible. But learning drop knees can be tricky. A common error is to pull up first before positioning the foot, and by doing this you miss out on nearly all the mechanical advantage that can be gained. To do it right, resist the temptation to pull up, hang down straight, position the foot as an inside edge, and then swivel onto the foothold as an outside edge as you pull up in one smooth coordinated motion. Hang straight, inside edge, and then swivel, drop the knee and twist. With drop knees, the initial positioning of the foot is critical. You must always allow sufficient room for the pivot, otherwise your foot will simply spin off the top of the hold. It's moves like this that teach you just how accurate your footwork needs to be. So let's raise the stakes a little and see how things go when the footholds on the same problem are moved slightly higher and wider apart. Here, the need for correct body position and coordination will be tested further still, not to mention flexibility. The problem now, strange as it sounds, is that your elbows can sometimes get tangled up with your knees. But to sort this out, as you set up, simply remember that your knees always pass inside your arms. On this attempt, Gabby starts well, but she doesn't quite rotate the knee enough to lock into the position, and the effect is suitably dramatic. To help you coordinate your drop knees more smoothly, you can try linking them together using this simple supportive exercise. The outside edge, flag,